Welcome back, everyone. This is Weeksauce. If you're one of the hardcore listeners out there that refreshes the feed on Monday, waiting for it to go live, you might notice that it's going up a bit later than usual this week. That is because, poor Mr. Kyle Ferguson has a really sore throat, and as someone with chronic sore throats, I know how much that can totally suck. So we didn't think we were going to do an episode today, but then I was saved. I was saved by the first time going to host the show along with me, Kristen, aka DrmDestryr. Welcome to the show, Kristen.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. It feels great to not have to talk to a whisperer. No offense, Kyle, but I feel like there are hidden microphones around the house and we have to be secretive about what we're saying now. So it feels good to project again.
That's awesome. Sweet. Well, I really appreciate you filling in for your husband Kyle today, and this should be fun. We had a few people on Twitter be like, why don't you just have Kristen host? That sounds like a good idea. And in my head, I was like, well, it's because she's currently playing Walking Dead. Can't really do that right now, but that's why we're recording it a little bit later. I just got back from an awesome vet visit. Yeah.
A vet visit? Who was the lucky or unlucky visitor, and what, pray tell, what were they visiting for?
Oh, yeah. So if anyone even remotely familiar with the more intimate details of my life knows that we have a small zoo here at the Weinzerl house, and it was our long-haired cat, Sherlock. He is losing a bunch of hair.
Oh, no. So does he have little bald spots, or you're going to have to call him Watson from now on?
He does have little bald spots, and I hadn't considered that. That's good. That's good.
'Cause I'm assuming he's got, he's a bit shorter now because he's getting older. He's got the little pot belly. Just, the little bald spots. That's it.
It's coming in. It's coming in. He needs to lose all the hair around his mouth except for a mustache. That's what needs to happen next.
You could shave him. You could shave him. Give him the Watson. Instead of the lion cut, the Watson's going to be hot this year.
Oh, that would be such a great way to screw with Katie, because she hasn't seen him yet. She just knows that I left, and then she comes home. How's our cat? Well, Katie, let me tell you, it's not pretty. And he just comes out with a mustache.
Not looking good, and then he tries to clean it so it looks like he's playing with it the whole time.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I think you've landed on something there, Kristen. But no, he's doing all right. It turns out he has a flea allergy, so we just got
but he doesn't have fleas, does he?
No. All it can take is like one bite. Even if he's being treated for fleas, which he is, just the one bite can kind of set it off. He gets super itchy, starts licking a lot, and he literally licks the hair off.
That sounds so gross.
It's pretty nasty.
Is he eating the same amount, or is the hair kind of sufficing the diet?
I mean, I would say that the cat food is disappearing at the normal rate, so I think he's okay in that regards. But once the vet said that, I was like, wow, that explains the uptick in hairballs we've been cleaning up lately. That
totally would, and I'm sure those hairballs are nasty too.
They're not great. No, they're definitely not. But
no, is he one of those midnight barfers where you'll be asleep, it's all peaceful, and all of a sudden you'll hear the and it'll start going for at least 10 minutes?
I wish we heard it, because that means I could go get him off of the carpet first. But no, we just wake up and there's nasty on the carpet.
Right, and that brings a great point up about cats. Cats barf on the hard floors. Why don't you go to the kitchen? No one would care if you barfed in the kitchen, but not on the carpets.
And it's for our house, it's the really big one that the couches are on top of, Yeah,
right. He's got to crawl. He forces himself under the couch to barf.
Yep.
He
Thanks,
works
Sherlock.
For it.
Thanks, buddy.
I mean, great job, Watson. But
I can tell that you are a medium. You're a long-haired cat owner, because it's just. This is all too real.
Oh, it is. He's I can't put my face in his fur, because I don't know if you get this with Sherlock, but those fine hairs, they stick to my eyes, and then I'm rubbing my eyes for the rest of the day. It's so sad because he's so soft, but I have to refrain.
Yeah. I think I may have personally developed a mild allergy to him, because when he touches my eyeballs, it doesn't end well. But. So such is life, right? It's the choices we make. It's
the choices indeed. And that sounds like a segue, in fact, because both of us have made choices in a similar fashion.
Yeah, you've been playing The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, on your morning on your stream on in the AM.
Yes, I am, and I just started up season 2 this morning, and boy howdy, I didn't think I could have such a sad Monday morning, but here I am.
Oh yeah, that game. Are you experiencing the same thing I experienced, Kristen, which is this thing where you're just like, oh, this is so good, but you don't want to recommend it to friends? You're like, it's a weird thing to recommend. It's like, oh my God, this is so good. It's so depressing. You have to play it. It's soul crushing.
But it's a great story, right? It's like recommending people read The Road. I think everybody should read Cormac McCarthy's The Road. It is a story, and it is a beautiful story, but you will not walk away feeling good. You will walk away having to think about the briefness that is life for at least a week, maybe even 2.
Yeah, God, the Telltale series is really solid. I've only played the first season. I played about halfway through season 2, and right when it came out, and got distracted, wandered off, never came back to it. Apparently my saves didn't get backed up to Steam Cloud, so they're just gone now after many hard drive wipes.
That's so sad. And it's one of those, so you don't want to make those decisions again. You made them once.
No.
And once was enough.
No,
so what did you think of the ending of that first season?
I think the first season of of Telltale's The Walking Dead, and now I like the show on and off. I have a complicated relationship with The Walking Dead, the television show, and I have only read the original comics up through right before you meet the character of Negan, like up to that point. I love the comics. The show is hit or miss, but I would consider myself a Walking Dead fan. I think that first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead is the best Walking Dead thing out there.
I would agree with that. I mean, from start to finish, they drop things on your feet and they go through. Everything is covered. Even the car decision way back in that second episode comes back with a vengeance, and it's amazing. And one of my favorite things about it is that it was kind of a coming of age tale for Clementine. And the ending was beautiful because she had to do the 3 things that she would need to do in order to survive apocalypse: survive and kill her own zombie attack, kill a crazy person, because you're going to have to kill crazy people, and kill someone you love.
Yep. It's some seriously heavy stuff. And I mean, that's what The Walking Dead has always dealt in. And I can't even put my finger on why Telltale's first season has such gravity for me, but it's just so well executed, and it's a jank looking game, man. Telltale makes some ugly ass games, if I'm being honest. Like, their engine sucks, and it's that sketchy thing, right? Although I will say episode 2, I'm kind of hoping turns into a romance simulator, because I'm liking Luke quite a bit. I know Clementine's only 11, but Kristen is way past 11 here. Oh, I never thought about that. That's a different take on starting season 2 than I had.
He's such a cutie. He's probably the cutest character I've come across so far. But in this joking I've been having, I wonder if Telltale will ever go into that kind of like Mass Effect romance story, because they would kill it. They would have so many lonely people out there, and not lonely people, right? I don't consider myself lonely, but I would eat it up, and I would play the heck out of those games. Yeah. I'd sign me up, man. They should just do a Mass Effect game. I mean, EA isn't doing one right now, so That's true. It's kind of shelved after Andromeda. It was kind of murdered by its own title. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It should have been something entirely different, right? Mass Effect was done. Close that chapter. New space drama. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're digging it, because I know, I feel like I know through osmosis that you're like, on Walking Dead through Kyle, the show at least. Yeah, but The Walking Dead, my opinion generally falls into the category where if it goes past a certain point, they don't have a story to tell anymore. And so there's going to be a lot of filler. There's going to be a lot of side stuff that's never answered. And I've done fandoms. I've been really hardcore into stuff that never paid off. So in order to save time and emotion, that investment, I often set that rule.
Yeah. We took our first break from it last year. And I got back. We got back on this year because the whole season we had missed was all of a sudden on Netflix, and it's like, and so we could A, binge it, and B, not see commercials. And it ended up being really good. I think it's one of the at least last year's season, I think, was one of the strongest. This year, so like from fall to, I think it starts up in a week or two again. Again, kind of rocky. I'm like, the character who I really like is kind of wearing thin now. I think he's been on the show a little too long. It's getting long in the tooth again. So
that's so sad. Which character?
Negan, the main villain in the current arc on television.
Is he the one with the bat?
He is
and
the one with the bat.
Jacket?
Yeah, he's the one with the bat. He's the actor. Oh, he's so good in it. He's absolutely so good in it. And his introduction is what like just turned me off the show because I was like, I can't get into another big bad. The show is just a revolving door of bad guys, and I finally like saw the inside of the sausage, and I was done. And then I guess I just needed time. I guess I was just a little burnt out because we started watching Negan's introductory season, and I think it's some of the best stuff that show's ever done. So
that's amazing. And you're totally right. Maybe it is just taking breaks, just giving yourself time to reset because the characters are really, really fun. And I would totally watch an arc about that guy. Yeah.
I also think it helps that I haven't gotten to that point in the comics. I don't know. I think you got to make your choice as a consumer of fiction nowadays. Do you want to be a fan of the book or do you want to be a fan of the show? And whatever your answer is, don't consume the other media because it's just going to mess with your enjoyment.
That's fair. It's like with the Blizzard stuff, the games, I just follow the games. I don't do the books. That is my hard line. If I have to look up lore for somebody, the books do not count.
I did that once. I read Tides of War, which is like the Jaina book right before, is it Mists? I don't remember which one. Or it might be, yeah, I think it's right before Mists. And it's a great book. It's wonderful. And then they tried to tell the events of it in the game, and it was terrible. And it was a huge letdown.
So you would have been better not having known.
I'm trying to decide. I'm pretty sure it still would have been lame in the game had I not known how good the book was. But whatever the case is, that's interesting.
You tasted great caviar, and then they're trying to pass you a salt lick, and you're going, no, that's not the same thing at all.
No, it's not. But speaking of you probably shouldn't mix medias. I started reading Ready Player One last night, and I am a very slow reader. I ended on like page 70. That doesn't usually happen. The last time I think that happened, I think I was reading Star Wars Lost Stars, which is my favorite Star Wars book still to this day.
Yeah. So you wouldn't consider yourself a reader, but this thing has totally just pulled you in.
I mean, I'm not
because I see you read Star Wars books.
Yeah. I pretty much just read I read Star Wars novels, and that's kind of it. For Christmas, Katie got me the first 3 Dark Tower books, so I'll be getting to those eventually. But I feel like I'm on a timer for Ready Player One because I want to have read the book before I see the movie. I went through a similar thing with the Hunger Games. The only thing being, I found myself oddly really into the Hunger Games books, so I kind of flew through them. And so Ready Player One, I'm not over the moon with it, but it's fun. It's fun and it's a fast read.
Yeah, definitely. So, but you got to 70. So what about it has kind of pulled you in?
I'm almost enjoying it as like a case study on how someone with background very similar to us write new fiction, create their own new world. It's like how if you actively do not try to remove yourself from gamer lingo, and especially like early aughts gamer lingo, if you just kind of embrace it and run with it, what does a book look, or what does a world look like? And apparently it looks like this.
Yeah, so fast, fun. What kind of story is it trying to tell? Are we doing like a coming of age? Are we doing a hero?
It's strange.
Because all I'm getting from the movie, there's an Easter egg, and you gotta find the Easter egg. Maybe the ending is, hey, the whole book was an Easter egg. You did it.
I mean, pretty much the opening of the book is that. Like the trailer, I guess, doesn't really I don't think gives that much away, because in the like opening chapter of the book, it sets up that whole thing that the creator of this insane online virtual game that the whole world plays, because the world is in such dire straits, their only escape is to get into this virtual world. He's dead, and whoever finds this thing gets his fortune and control of the game, and that's the beginning. But it's all the, again, like with any book, it's all the character interactions and how they talk with each other, and I'm just getting to the point where I kind of understand how this World of Warcraft meets Second Life but done well functions, and it's fun. It's a fun place to spend time in.
Fair enough. So are they throwing around references like the movie is kind of implying, where we're just going to see name drops all the time? Yeah.
So I mean, like mild spoilers, and again, this is covered in the opening chapter. The creator of this game came of age, went through high school in the 80s.
Oh.
And so everyone's trying to find this Easter egg. It's like so well hidden that everyone in the book that's trying to find it are studying every word this guy has ever written about anything. And on his deathbed, he releases his own personal journal, which has almost nothing to do with his own personal life. It's just like stream of consciousness and 80s movie references. So all the people who are hunting this egg, they spend their off hours watching John Hughes movies and listening to Duran Duran.
That's incredible. And I love the fact that one of the driving things is people are spending hours, days, even dissecting every single word this poor man ever said in his life. It seems oddly reminiscent of modern day and how far some fandoms can go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. George Lucas, anybody? George Lucas?
Yeah, Star Wars. Oh,
yep.
Pardon me.
Yeah. It's a really fun setup, and like I said, it's pretty tropey. And there's a couple parts like when someone calls someone else a noob in normal conversation, unironically, I cannot help but physically rear back from the book I'm reading.
It's okay. You know what you do? Read books with pens. Make notes. Highlight stuff. Like stuff you really like, stuff you really don't like. It is so cathartic. Because it really just helps you, like, not only put your mark onto this thing you're really enjoying, but make sense of parts you're going, why? I loved you so much, and that cut. You didn't have to do it, but staring me in the face.
That was like the one big thing that I was like, oh man, this is really on the nose, was someone called someone else a noob in casual conversation. And I was just like,
how did they spell it?
I don't remember. It might have been O-O.
Okay, I'm just curious, right? Because we can go with the NEWB, which is, I think, the more properly chosen one. Or we're going straight for that lead speak. We're taking this back to the 90s.
I don't believe it was spelled with zeros. I'm fairly certain it wasn't spelled with zeros because it was part of dialogue. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. But overall, really enjoying it so far.
That's cool. I'll have to see if I can pick it up then. And it's a pretty short read, yeah?
I mean, it's a long book, but...
Oh, is it? How long is it?
Almost 500 pages, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's quite the tome.
Yeah, it's a fat one. But like I said, I'm the slowest reader I know, and I burnt through 70 pages in just a little over an hour last night.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like, and judging by the previews too, there's a lot more of a story that's there than what the introduction and previews have led on.
Yeah. I'm just starting to scratch the surface of the mechanics of the game world. You kind of start off just enjoying like its virtual version of school, because it's just cheaper for people to attend school with a headset than actually going to a facility. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to reading more of it. So I'll be getting to that tonight. So
sweet.
Yeah. But before, on our last episode, Kyle and I were talking. We were talking some music, and apparently, both he and you are very much into Bruno Mars at the moment.
I am a big fan of Bruno Mars, and I think Kyle's a fan of Bruno Mars because I can't stop listening to Bruno Mars. I respect the heck out of him. I think he's probably one of the hardest working artists out there.
Well, then you must have been happy with the results of the Grammys last night, because Bruno Mars just friggin' ran away with it, apparently.
I heard that and I was so happy for him. I think he deserves all of the awards he gets. It's great because his music is always evolving, and of course you hear the stories about his showmanship on stage, and you just know he has worked his little buns off to get to where he has. And it's true, and I wonder because he did a song for one of the Twilight movies. One of the Twilight movies he did a song for, and I have to wonder if that was in the earlier days when he was trying to make it big, and he made a deal to do a song for a Twilight movie, and it had to fit that poppy thing that he experiments with, but he did it so that he could rise on up and eventually get all these victories now.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember when he even came on my radar, and now that I think about it, I think it was around the time that Twilight was having its moment.
First time I heard him was I Would Catch a Grenade for You. And that wasn't the one that got me to fall in love with Bruno Mars. It was the Uptown Funk.
That's the song that brought it up on the show last week, because I went to a wedding the day before we recorded Weeksauce last week, and I said, when white people aren't dancing, you put on Uptown Funk, and problem solved.
Exactly. It's got such a great beat to it. I love that song.
Yeah, I did not watch the Grammys. I saw the headlines about Bruno Mars, and I was like, oh, let me just pull this up and look at the list. And oh my God, except for like Bruno Mars, I don't know anyone here. I'm feeling old again, Kristen.
It's true. Those moments happen, right? And then you turn on the What's Popular Around the World playlist on Spotify and you go, that isn't music, that's just noise. Change the station. And you pull out your little stick because you can't be bothered to walk over and give it a poke. Well, I guess you pull out your phone now and you tap next on the app.
Yes. Or you, on Spotify, the never play the song or whatever the option is.
Thank goodness for that feature. There are so many songs on there, especially songs, not modern songs, but 80s. There's so many 80s. If I have to hear We Are Family one more time, I'm going to lose it, man.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I was just looking at the list and I was just like, man, I have fallen behind on even just rock music. Like, okay, the Foo Fighters won Best Rock Song. I know who they are.
That's fantastic.
I know who they are. Everyone else, I don't know. Who the hell is the War on Drugs? I don't know who that band is.
But didn't the War on Drugs fail?
Well, apparently they won Best Rock Album.
Well, I'm glad they got their act together and did something with their lives.
Yeah. I had no idea that Metallica had a new album out. That's news to me. Queens of the Stone Age. I'm just happy to hear they're still doing stuff, but I am out of the loop on. Right.
And in the end, I feel most of it is that mass marketed, we're going through the cycle again. You see it with boy bands. Every 5 years or so, you cycle through the next boy band, and it's the same thing.
More or less, right? How many times can you rewrite the same basic concept for a song?
Apparently every single year, but you're right. And what is it? Computers are writing songs now? A lot of the pop songs?
Is that true?
I read somewhere a while ago. This may or may not actually be true, but I do know computers can write music. Therefore, they're writing pop songs.
Yeah.
It's the only logical explanation.
That's great. I need to have you on here to talk music more often. Yeah, it's fun because I know you spent some time, doing opera and whatnot.
Yes, I did. But that's I mean, pop for its age, but I wouldn't exactly consider it 1-to-1 nowadays.
Oh no, but it's certainly I would say a unique twist on music knowledge that I certainly don't come into contact with in casual conversation.
Fair enough. It is, and it's one of those antiquated things like Shakespeare. We keep it alive because it is beautiful once you understand the language, and there's the rub, as it were.
Yeah. Oh, you mean I have to learn a thing?
Exactly. I don't know. Yeah, and it's kind of sad, right? Because we keep these things alive. They were the pop culture of those generations, and nowadays they're high art, which is hilarious. And we can't understand it unless we have that context in which to get why it's considered good or why anyone cares about this aria from some Italian thing.
Right. It's that other extra extra layer extra hurdle you need to jump.
Yeah, totally.
Well, on the subject of I have to learn something else. That's how I feel reading Overwatch League highlights right now, or headlines. The headlines for all the headlines I'm seeing have nothing to do with the actual play. It has to do with the drama surrounding certain players in Overwatch League.
But what? So you're telling me Overwatch League is the drama? It was never about the games or the talent to begin with. It was all a ploy to get more drama going.
It's certainly, I don't know how to take this. I don't know how to take it as folks writing articles about Overwatch League that are getting traction have no interest in writing about the games themselves, or that, oh, hey, this actually feels like real sports, because the things that I'm seeing shared the most on social media are just kind of drama pieces about dumb shit players are saying publicly.
Well, all the same, what's your favorite type of drama to read about? We all have our flavor. What's yours, Garrett?
Oh, no, I'm definitely with I'm definitely with the one with the player flipping the bird to the camera, because that's that you can just eat that up, laugh at it, and it's easy. You don't have to there's nothing to get offended about there, really. The dude flipped off the camera, didn't realize it was on, you know. I was blanking on the name. It's Prophet, by the way, for London Spitfire. So he was fined $1,000. He was fined $1,000, Kristen, because he flipped the camera off at Overwatch League.
Okay, so did he know about the fine? The fine.
Well,
or was this just out of left field because the poor kid was caught up in the rage of battle and wanted to do something wacky? And now we're punishing him for wanting to drink the blood of his enemies?
As my memory serves, it wasn't actually in the heat of a game. It was like coming back from a commercial break, and they were going through a couple different cameras with the players, and he was looking it off as like a joke to the guy in the sound booth who he was talking to, and he didn't realize that the camera was live.
Oh no!
And I guess this is where the drama kind of goes away, and there's actually a discussion to be had, because like the Overwatch League is saying, oh, we have a code of conduct. This violates it, and that code is public absolutely nowhere. No one has actually seen this thing other than apparently people working on Overwatch League, and that's when interesting points get brought up of, hey, every other traditional sport has their rules publicly available somewhere. Can we see those?
That's a very good point too, right? Because and I mean, the big question is, who's the audience of Overwatch League? What age range are they trying to hit? And if they're just trying to hit young adults, teenagers, middle finger's not going to matter, right? But right. Are they aiming for a younger audience in that case?
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I mean, on the Polygon article, there was a comment that they pulled in off of Twitter, saying, hey, there are kids watching this. Why don't we try and up the quality? But I can't help but laugh at them. Like, you're worried about that. Your kid totally knows what the middle finger is. Your kid has seen a middle finger before.
Exactly. And if you are letting your kid watch this stuff, maybe that's the time to have a conversation about when it's appropriate and not appropriate.
How dare you
use that?
No, Kristen. How dare you tell me I should have a conversation with my child?
Right? Who wants to sit down with their young whippersnapper and discuss the realities of life? Why would you want to prepare your child for adulthood?
Right. Like I get it to a certain, when it gets to a certain point, like this is a one-off thing. It's not like every time they come back from commercial, all the players and the casters and like a machinima of Tracer on the big screen are flicking everybody off.
Maybe they should, right? Maybe this is the call, and this becomes what Overwatch League is known for. Every time you come back, there's a middle finger hidden somewhere. It's like, where's Waldo? You know it's there, but you gotta look for it because they want to keep it tasteful.
Tracer just blinks in, up yours, mate. It'd be great. I would love it. It'd be so good.
Then she high fives and Lucio spins around behind the back, around the world, kind of a thing.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's interesting. It makes it seem kind of like it's hit the big time because the drama about players are hitting the headlines.
Yeah, that's a very great point, and that's really cool to hear, but also those growing pains are very sad to hear because we've all experienced those growing pains where we've done something we thought would be funny only to learn very quickly that that should have never been done in that situation. And it's really a shame that he had to be fined for it, right? Instead of getting a warning, because what if he honestly didn't know, and if he was having fun with his friend in the sound booth? They're just kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other one is anti-gay slurs, which is the other big one that's been going around. And that's the one that I think is significantly less. It's not just junk food. I can't just pop open that chip bag and be like, oh, look at this idiot, and move on with it. I'm like, ooh, that's a bigger issue.
Yeah, that's definitely something you don't know. No, because then you're getting into the realm of hurting someone else, right? And it's just not acceptable to do that.
Yeah, and this is a conversation Kyle and I have had not very recently. I feel like it's been a long time since we had this conversation on any podcast. But we both talked about on shows. I can't remember which one, if it was Starcast or it was early days of Minute of the Nexus, about how we had to work hard to strike phrases like calling someone gay from our vocabulary because of when we grew up.
Totally. I remember the 90s, retarded was the big one. That was the word everyone used to, as a teenager when you're 13 in middle school, expressing your distaste for something. It was never meant to be offensive, and it never targeted individuals. It was just a term that meant slow, that is also applied to certain groups to express something that now, you understand the ramifications nowadays, and you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, so you don't say that stuff anymore.
Yeah, and that's where my head's always at. It's like I feel like most folks who say these words probably don't. Like this, I don't know XQC, who's the player who said this. My gut tells me he's probably not homophobic. But at the end of the day, pick a different word. I don't know. Like I said, this is the kind of thing where I'm like, I've tried really hard to strike this from my vocabulary. Why can't you? You're making more money than I am working in this space. Come on.
Totally. And maybe what needs to happen is there needs to be an honest discourse, because I remember growing up learning which words were good, which words were bad, the curse words and everything. And it's confusing because why is a word bad, right? When you're a child and you're learning to drop the F-bomb for the first time, it doesn't mean anything to you. It just makes people react. And so you go for it to try it out to see what happens. And I think there needs to be some sort of guidance to explain that language isn't bad, but how we use it is extremely powerful, and that how we use it comes with a level of responsibility, and that the way we talk shapes the world around us, right? I mean, we have these studies where the words you use affect how you think not only about yourself, but about the world. And so by using this kind of vague understanding of the power of language, we can cull the more painful things without completely trying to call them, without forgetting where they come from, right? The heaviness that comes with it and why they've evolved to the point they have.
Yeah, no, it's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like, I think that's all part of the reason I've tried to edit my own vocabulary of trying to strike words that I used to use in daily conversation multiple times a day.
Yeah, certainly. And I remember growing up, hate, my mom would never let us use the word hate because it was too strong. And that was a very, very, very bad word. So, of course, that meant growing up, the things that I disliked were never an extreme. It was always, I don't like it, not I hate it. And then Dad's I can't never got anywhere. We were not allowed to say I can't. So now I've grown up thinking, well, of course I can do all these things. I just don't have the time.
You still rationalize it in your own brain.
Exactly. There's still rationalization that can be done, but you don't have those limitations and stuff with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so some fines going out with Overwatch League, some discussions being had. I'm interested to see if they actually release the code of conduct anytime soon.
I hope they do. I think that would be really cool because then the community can have a discussion and maybe Overwatch players and the community can build a set of standards that everyone's happy. Well, most people are happy with. Let's go with an average, right?
Can't please everybody all the time.
No, exactly.
No. I put this in here just for myself. I'm pouring one out. Kristen, PUBG's starting island is gone. It's a thing of the past.
You gotta explain it to me. What's the starting island?
This would have been the same if Kyle was here because he doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about either. So in PUBG, back when it was only one map, now there's two. The starting island is where everyone would spawn as you had I think it's like a 1 minute countdown before the game actually starts. And it's just a starter island that actually exists on the map. And there's just a bunch of guns and ammo and everyone just screws around and it's really dumb while you wait for the game to start. They have since figured out that, hey, spawning everyone into the same location every time with a bunch of interactable items and ammunition taxes the hell out of our servers. Maybe we should stop doing that and randomly drop people in groups of like 20 to 30 in random locations all around the map to speed up load times. And they've done that, but there's no guns to screw with. You're just standing there.
Did you get to yell at one another in the beginning too and figure out who your enemies were going to be, who you were going to hunt down?
I have never actually turned on proximity voice chat in the game, so I don't know if you can do that. But I would think you could if you had that feature turned on.
What would you nickname yourself? So let's assume you go in there, you RP, you got the voice on. What character would you take on? How would you threaten to murder a PUBG player?
Oh, I'd put on like my best just Florida redneck impression. Probably start talking about how I'm gonna feed you the gators when I'm done.
And what would you go by? What would your nickname be?
Oh Jesus, I don't know.
Right, because I was thinking of this, the zombie apocalypse in The Walking Dead. I came across a zombie with a signpost through his head, and I went, oh my goodness, what if there's somebody around here who only uses signposts to kill zombies? You could call yourself the poster.
All right, no, I call myself Tailgater.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
It works on 2 levels,
yep.
Which really makes it good. Would you automatically die if you couldn't find a truck to drive around the PUBG battlefield?
Oh, I would. And the trucks only spawn on the desert map. So if I was on the original map, that would just be a sad day.
That would be. I'm out. I got to reload. This ain't it. Yep. Tailgater can't win this one.
Nope. I guess they do have the dune buggies though. That's relatively southern. I guess we could get into that.
That's true. I mean, golf carts. I'm older southern rich people. Golf carts.
Oh God, I wish they had golf carts in PUBG. That would suck though. They're so slow. You'd probably just be better off running.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, what's it gonna? It's got open sides too. It's not exactly safe.
Squishy Knight in the chat room says it should be the postman, the guy that only kills zombies with posts.
The postman. I like it. And then if you get 20 kills, you can call yourself the postmaster.
Oh, I like it.
Right? Or if you live a certain number of days.
You have a built-in achievement for your RP online handle. I like that. Or poster child. That's where you began. You begin as poster child. If 10 kills, you go to postman. And if you can achieve 20 kills, you are the postmaster.
Yes. How do we make our own achievements? Does anybody know how to code this?
Oh, we gotta hack the game, which breaks the EULA, which means we're getting banned.
Darn it.
Damn.
I think it's worth it. Just for a fleeting second of glory.
Now, the last time you and I were on a podcast together, you came and guested on The Angry Nerd, and we did a very serious, very informative news segment on Battlefront 2's drama.
We did. That was probably the most research I think I've ever put into anything we've discussed before.
Yeah, me too. I actually did to make sure I was getting my jokes right. But they've announced that they're going to finally be coming in with an overhaul to the game's progression.
So it won't take 50 years to unlock Vader?
Well, it still it still could. It still could, because they haven't told us what the hell they're actually doing, and they're not going to tell us until March. So they've announced an announcement of changes.
March. Wait, when is the Solo story supposed to come out? Is it going to be some weird tie-in or some kind of hype thing?
Oh, no, Solo comes out.
Does EA think that far ahead?
Solo's Christmas of this year.
Really? I thought it was coming out in spring.
Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, every Star Wars film so far has been slated for a summer release and then pushed. Oh my God, it's supposed to be coming out in May. Huh. I didn't know that. So
changes 2 months before Star Wars.
Oh, wow. It's not
Conspiracy.
It's not every day that I don't know a thing about Star Wars. Yeah. Oh my God, I hope they actually hit that date. I don't have to wait till December to see another Star Wars movie. Sign me up.
Do you want to see this Star Wars movie?
I mean, that's the question, right? I will say I am the least hyped for Solo I have been for any Star Wars movie.
It's going to be interesting. There are a lot of negative rumors circulating around this one. And honestly, Harrison Ford was much more handsome than the guy they chose. So there's going to need to be a lot of convincing. Right? Harrison Ford looks like he would take you and kiss you. This guy, he would high five you and tell you you're wearing a nice hairdo. And then you like shake hands and walk away. You're trying so hard not to just say he vapes right now. He may or may not vape. He doesn't have to vape. But the original Han Solo would not vape. No. He would chew cocaine leaves. He's so hardcore, is what I'm saying. Oh, that's good. I mean, I love Donald Glover. I'm more hyped for Donald Glover than anything else surrounding Solo, because Lando is an interesting character, and I want to spend more time with him. I just want the Lando movie, I guess is what I'm saying. Right, and if Glover can nail the way Lando talks and his mannerisms, that would be fantastic. And I think Glover has the potential to really pull that off. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess I was probably technically less hyped for episode 2, but that's just because it was high school and girls were talking to me for the first time in my life. Oh. So I was kind of like, oh, this is out? So suddenly, when girls talk to you, Star Wars isn't that high up there. I mean, when it's the first time it happened in your entire life, yeah, probably, priorities get shifted. Totally, totally. As soon as you start going on dates, Star Wars doesn't matter too much anymore. But then once you finally settle down, Star Wars matters again, so it works. Yeah. All right, listen, chat room, I'm not mocking people who vape. I am just injecting a commonly used used trope to quickly express an idea. Yes. It's something you do to get ideas across really quickly. Now, of course, when we go into the editing process, we can change that, right? Maybe instead of a vape, maybe he doesn't smoke at all. Maybe he's vegan. Oh, but there we go. There's another quick way to express an idea. Now we've annoyed the vegans. Mm-hmm. See, this is why it's rough. See, sometimes I just want to get an idea out there real fast, and I'm not trying to get on anyone's. No offense to anybody. It's just going with that look. Yeah. Except I feel like I'm allowed to make fun of vegans because I went to art school and everyone except me was. Dude, I worked at a natural food store, so yeah, yes, vegans. Not all of them are bad. There are plenty of cool ones, but there are some interesting ones out there. I also feel like I'm self-aware enough to realize that my annoyance with how hard it was to get what I would consider a normal meal while attending art school is what vegans experience in everyday life all day, every day. That's fair, unless you move to the West Coast, and then there is amazing vegan food out here. Oh my goodness, we went to one the other day, and it was the most flavorful thing I'd had in a long time. Yeah. But bringing it back to bringing it back around somehow to Battlefront 2. This should be interesting to see how they overhaul this progression. I mean, clearly, they really overshot how the pushback, the monumental size that the pushback was against their progression system. Yeah, it was unfair. I mean, they actually took it back. That's how it speaks to what happened is they reverted. They're reverting. Well, actually, no. Do you think they're gonna revert? I was thinking loot boxes. So how does the progression system work now? And do you think they're gonna make it better, or do you think they're gonna make it worse?
I think it'd be hard to make it worse, and that's not me just like going for a cheap laugh. Like it's bad. To make it worse, I don't know how they do that. Like I have to go out and do manual labor to unlock a hero. Like, that's the only thing I can think of.
So you're saying that the XP gain is just terrible, or what's the bad thing about it?
The bad part is the whole card system. They have this card system, and the whole thing is based out of their loot boxes. And so, like, purchasing loot boxes is still turned off. It's been turned off since launch week. There is an option to buy loot boxes, and nothing. You go in, and it's just like, sorry, not available at this time. And it's been that way since the game launched. The game's been out for like 3 months.
Holy cow. So card system then apparently is better than boxes, I guess.
Well, you get cards. You get cards out of the boxes. And it might and because certain ships, certain heroes are unlocked, you can get cards for heroes or ships that you don't actually have unlocked. So you can get modifications for things you can't even use. And it's just a mess. It's a complete and total mess. As someone who really enjoyed all of the Battlefront so far, even though this was technically number 4 and they're calling it number 2. It's just annoying.
Yeah. And there's no way to kill those cards, as it were, turn them into something that could be used to craft something later.
I mean, yeah, they're like when you get duplicates, you get a pittance of in-game currency, not unlike every other game with a loot box right now.
Yeah.
But it's just, theirs is so deeply diluted with so much bloat that it's the progression system, even though they've tweaked it since they turned off the ability to purchase anything with real money. It's just messy. It's not, I don't get the same urge to grind like I did back when Modern Warfare 2 came out and blew everyone's mind with like an RPG-esque level up system and a shooter.
Yeah, totally. That's a shame that they couldn't get that right, because that progression system is what keeps people playing. You want to get to that next level. It's that feeling of reward, that feeling of accomplishment. And to not have that in a game where you could have made hand over fist all the money you could have ever dreamed of, that's so sad.
Yeah. I don't know. It's strange because like at the core, I still like the game. Like I said this to Kyle. I got my painstakingly realistic render of the Star Wars universe, which is what that's what I show up the Battlefront for. Like I think I used the analogy with Kyle of there's art that's good because it has a message, and there's art that's good because it's technically well executed. And Battlefront is the latter. It's technically well executed. And that's I just want to show up and I just want to walk around Maz Kanata's castle, and I got to do that in Battlefront 2. And I'm not even joking. I literally spent an hour just walking around looking at every corner of that damn place.
Right, that's the best stuff. That's WoW in the early days when there weren't any of the extra stuff. You're just walking around and suddenly you're on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. So I haven't played too much since the holidays started, but I'm glad they're doing something. It's just you probably need to hurry up, EA.
Fair enough, right? And here's to hoping it's a great progression system, and then once Solo releases and puts Star Wars back into everybody's minds, that pushes people to try Battlefront again, and they've done something amazing. That's the best case scenario. Yeah. I'm holding out hope for Solo. I don't know if you've seen any different rumors than I have, but a lot of them are just like, oh, there's reshoots. It's going to be bad. And it's reshoots for every movie. I've heard reshoots and acting coaches. Oh, I didn't hear about the acting coaches. That's interesting. I heard acting coaches were hired for the 2 leads. I don't know what that means. Maybe the movie was taking a different direction and switching from what was rumored to be a quippy comedy to more of a dramatic thing. That's a hard transition sometimes, but yeah. So we'll see. We shall see when it releases. Yeah, exactly. And you're right, chat room. I remember the reshoot uproar over episode 8 as well. Every Star Wars movie has had fairly well publicized reshoots at this point. It did, didn't it? And even Rogue One had reshoots.
Rogue One was the first one to have what appeared to be major kind of issues and creative differences and whatnot, because they brought in I don't know what the term is, but they brought in a second director to kind of, I guess, smooth out a vision that they didn't agree with from Gareth Edwards. I don't know exactly. I'm paraphrasing poorly, but so I mean, Gareth Edwards stayed on. It wasn't like the both directors getting fired off of Solo, and also what's his name, who did Jurassic Park, getting kicked off of the third in the set of trilogy movies, which I couldn't agree with more. Jurassic World is watchable at best. Right.
It's one of those movies I pretend it just doesn't exist in the canon to me.
Yeah,
it just, certain things, they don't exist in the canon. But I mean, how is that any different from when I said when it comes to Blizzard games, for me, the books, they don't count for lore to me. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. Show me in the games or don't show me at all, kind of a thing.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you don't necessarily need to get up in arms about it. You can just be like, this is not for me. Moving on.
Exactly. Some things work, some things don't, and that's okay.
Yeah. That being said, I'm still relieved when directors I disagree with get removed from projects I care a lot about.
I agree. It's the vision of the director, right? Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. I mean, Tarantino is probably one of the biggest examples. You either really like his style or you don't. Yep. Because it's so extreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think anyone has a lukewarm opinion of Tarantino.
Exactly, right? You see his films and people go, well, I like this part, but I didn't like this part. It's usually a love or hate.
Now that I've said that, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I like his movies. I don't rewatch them a million times, though. But I definitely go see him opening weekend.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think the only one that I've watched more than once was Inglourious Bastards. I think that is his best work.
It's real fun.
My favorite, at least.
Yeah, that one's real fun. I've also watched Hateful Eight twice.
That had some great moments in it. I loved the whole black box theater thing they had going on inside of that cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's a solid one. He should do more Westerns. I want more Westerns from Quentin Tarantino.
Right. It's so awesome.
He's good at it. He knows it. He knows it well. Let's crack open the tweet spree. We're still moving through a lot of Twitter questions, so I pulled a few out that were less Kyle specific this week.
We were asked how we met our wives, but that's a tale for a different day. Next time, Garrett.
I was thinking actually holding that question for like a Valentine's week episode.
I
thought that was
pretty sweet.
A good cheesy thing to do with that question.
That is good choice. Good decision.
Well, let's kick things off. At Iagovos asks, outside of Blizzard games, which games would you most like to do a podcast about, and why?
For me, it would definitely be Diablo. I love the lore. I love the fantasy of the heaven and hell fighting, and of course, childhood. That's the one. That's my childhood game right there.
What about outside of Blizzard games, or do you just like Diablo so much?
It does say outside of Blizzard games. I'm a reader, y'all. Garrett, you were talking about being a slow reader. I can't even catch all the words in a sentence. All right, outside of a Blizzard game, Mass Effect, the original trilogy, and maybe just more Mass Effect 1 and 2. Yeah. Mass Effect.
Yeah. That's when I've batted around ideas. Like when I heard Andromeda was coming out, I vaguely remember having a conversation with Kyle. I'm like, hey, is there something here? Should we do something? And he's just like, oh, I'm kind of busy. And then it came out and I was like, whoo, dodged a bullet there.
Yes. Yeah, I tried to get through it, but there was a lot there that was cool, but a lot that kind of fell through. And again, maybe it shouldn't have even been a Mass Effect title.
Maybe not. Yeah, just something different. Or I don't know. Is that the issue? Or like, I don't know. I've heard so many different complaints from so many different people. Some people was like, I just couldn't get past the busted ass animations. Other people couldn't get past the voice acting. To me, it sounded like it was all coalesced into just not that great of a finished product. regardless whether it was Mass Effect or not.
Yeah, and in the end, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be really honest, there weren't any love interests I was interested in. How are you going to follow up Garrus or Tally? How are you going to follow that up? I was in tears at the end of 3 when I sacrificed myself so that Turian could have a happy life. And we were going to meet at our bar and have drinks together, and I'm tearing up about it now.
Oh. I've mentioned this to Kyle a few times. I romanced Miranda without realizing it was a thing I could do.
Oh, really? So kind of one of those accidental, you go to like give her a back pat and she turns around and you accidentally touch her front or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like
oh,
my playthrough of Mass Effect was one of the most closed off from outside forces of any playthrough I can think of that's happened in probably the last 15 years of my life. Like I didn't know that you could freaking romance people in that game. I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
Oh, so you went into it just totally blind.
Yeah, I was just role playing, man. I was just this is what my character would say in the situation. And
yeah,
before I knew
amazing.
It, yeah,
that's amazing. I remember the first one. I kept going downstairs to talk to Garrus because I wanted to rant the heck out of him. But in the first one, you couldn't. So he just keeps saying the same line again and again and again. And Caden is just throwing himself at me, and I got to get the spritzer bottle and go, no, back, Caden.
Oh, who is the space racist? In the first one.
Is it Ashley?
Is it Ashley?
Everyone calls her the space racist, but I don't remember her being racist.
I think when you first meet her, she has a couple lines about her aversion to other alien races, and I want to say through my first playthrough of Mass Effect 1, again, kind of made the same mistake. It seemed like she was starting to get romantic, and I hated her character.
I hated
right? It so much.
Right?
So I just stopped talking. I stopped interacting with her any chance I got. That was interesting.
So I'm gonna guess you sacrificed her too.
I think she ended up dying randomly. I got her killed on a mission, and I was just like, didn't like you anyway.
Exactly. That's what I felt like during The Walking Dead. If someone ticked me off as Lee, I was like, well, first chance I get, you're dead. Old man has a heart attack in a room, cinder block his face.
Oh God, what does this say about us as people? I'm
a survivor.
Okay, are we villains in The Walking? It sounds like this is what villains in The Walking Dead would do.
As long as I'm a cool villain, that's all that matters.
Oh man. Although I guess Rick in The Walking Dead has done this many times, and at a certain point, it's just.
And I mean, that's an extreme situation, right? How? I mean, no, in real life, I'm not gonna walk around, see an old man have a heart attack and bust his face in.
Right, exactly. But in an extreme scenario,
I would.
Where he could turn into a zombie shortly after, and you didn't like him that much to begin with.
Exactly, and he's 6 foot. Everything with so much weight on him. Kenny had a great point, and Lily had been nothing but mean. So I was happy to get rid of her, but then she killed my bae, and I was very upset.
You got to kill him. You got to bash their faces in with cinder blocks. I don't think I've answered this question yet. I've almost started a Destiny show multiple times.
Oh.
Just have never gotten it off the ground. Haven't found the proper co-host, really. No one that I already work with on a move is super into it, and I'm bad at meeting new people.
It's one of I feel like it's you level up in life, right? And some of us get social points, some of us don't. And I know don't have many points in social. I have had to work a lot these past few years to even be presentable. But yeah. So, and what about Destiny really kind of pulls you in?
It's a kind of, I guess it's the Diablo-esque-ness of it.
Yeah.
It's I love Halo. I love the way Halo plays. I still go back and play Halo 1. It's my go-to I'm sick game is, all right, I'm going to play some Combat Evolved. And it's just in the campaign. It's just I was never that into the multiplayer. And Destiny is basically a Halo campaign that never ends. I mean, it ends.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of looping gameplay, much like Diablo, but I get to just have my PvE Halo as much as I could possibly stand to take.
That's awesome. And what do you like most about it? Do you like the lore about it? Do you like the art, the gameplay? What's the thing that really kind of, when you say you love something and you give it a 10 out of 10, what's the thing that sells you?
That's when you pull that trigger, man. Guns in Bungie games feel really good.
Gotcha. So it plays the way it should play.
Yeah. I don't know. Just always been into it. Just landed those headshots, watching those little heads explode and space gases shoot out. Oh, I love it. It's just so satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's your favorite enemy type? Who do you like hunting when you're out?
Popping the Fallen, without a doubt. Getting headshots on Fallen are they're the spindly enemies.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah. No, I love those guys. And yeah, I waffle back and forth between them and the Cabal, who look like the big dudes from Fifth Element.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, headshotting those guys and like their pressurized suit, like everything explodes out the top of where their helmet was. I love it.
Oh, sick. So not only do the guns feel great, but the animation is rewarding.
Landing headshots, or in the case of the enemies they have to shoot in the belly, the Vex, landing just criticals in that game. They're just so satisfying. It's so freaking satisfying. It reminds me of I used to love Gears of War, if for no other reason than landing sniper shots in that game. For the very same, like the headshots were just the most satisfying thing in the world.
Ooh. Now, does it also play a little tune when you get a headshot? So you have like a little happy bell ringing? Like,
no, but like
just shot somebody in the head.
No, but like World of Warcraft, when you get your crit and the number is bigger in a different color, you know.
Yes, I know that feeling.
It just hits that center, man. It hits that center. And in before anyone's like, I'll start a Destiny podcast with you. I don't have the time right now.
Ultimately, I think that's what the answer always is. Like, I could, but then, no, I don't have time.
Also, the timing would be really bad right now. Like, Destiny 2 has been out for a while. There's no big update that just launched. Also, it's all about timing when you launch your shows, folks.
That's a good point. Unless it's about life.
Yeah, like this one.
Always going on.
Yes, it is. And wanting to know a very deep personal life question is at Mike TP818, who asks, favorite Pokemon and Pokemon generation.
Did you want to go first, or should I?
I'm going to go with the easy answer and also my legitimate answer, which is I've never beaten a Pokemon game past the original generation. So that's my answer. And my favorite Pokemon is Blastoise, because Squirtle's my homeboy. He eventually turned into Blastoise, and it's the only Pokemon that I leveled to max without using rare candy. So he was a death machine.
Oh, but steamrolling his way to victory. How many friends did you lose because of his power? Because, you could hook up the games, right?
Not too many, because I had those weird friends that all picked Bulbasaur, so they kicked my Blastoise's ass.
Oh, no. Was plant weak to water? Did I get that right? No, probably not.
Plant beats water, water beats fire, fire beats plant, if we're talking just the original 3 starters.
Yeah.
That's your rock, paper, scissors for the Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise wheel.
What a sad wheel. But everyone has to have balance, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love the original generation. I've played a decent amount of X and Y, just because it looked gorgeous and I had to pick it up. And I like it a lot. I just don't have that amount of time to go through Pokemon anymore. If they made a legitimate Pokemon game for the Switch, I'd be all over that.
It seems like that would be the perfect console for it, especially with the little pads. Now, they could do that Pokemon camera thing that the N64 tried, but it didn't kind of work out because you can't aim in camera with a stupid joystick.
I loved Pokemon Snap. I loved it.
I loved it too.
I went to Blockbuster and I printed out some of my Pokemon Snap photos on that stupid kiosk that they had because I was a super geek.
But that led you to this story today. And it's something we all can connect on because we all have those moments. All of us.
Yeah. Yeah. But what about you? Do you have a different answer? Did you play Pokemon beyond or even watch Pokemon beyond the original generation?
No, I watched the original and I watched the movies. My favorite Pokemon is probably Brock. I know Brock's not a Pokemon, but I did want to tell a story about Brock. If you watch the Four Kids Saturday morning, he would always do these songs. And my favorite Brock song was the Jenny. Oh, Jenny. Joy. Oh, joy. A one-woman man's what I want to be, but there's two perfect girls for me. And
God,
so I love Brock, that? Favorite character, but I think favorite Pokemon was Charmander. It's fire. I love fire type.
Oh, that's good. That's good then. If I grab one of my old grade school friends, we've got the 3 original starters represented.
There we go, and then we can get. I don't know. We can join forces, or we can turn on one another. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah. Non-starter. So we're not super boring. What's your favorite non-starter Pokemon?
Probably because of the movie previews, Mewtwo.
Yeah, I'm a big Mewtwo fan. I'll go slightly different. I'll say Psyduck. Psyduck is
Psyduck is cute.
He just melts my heart. He just melts my heart.
Also, doesn't he have a permanent headache?
Yeah.
That poor little guy. But I guess Cubone carries the bones of his mother or something. I mean, it gets dark.
The Cubone one, yeah. I remember reading that in the Pokedex in my playthrough, just thinking, what? Even when I was, however old I was then, what? God, like 11? I don't know. Whatever age I was, thinking, oh my God, that's really dark.
Right? Maybe Cubone is the one that taught us all how to be edgy when we grew up a few years later, right?
Are you saying I have Cubone?
Was the gateway.
I have Cubone to blame for my love of My Chemical Romance?
Exactly. My Chemical Romance, either Evanescence for me, you know.
Yeah. I was always fond of Cubone as well, and then I always had a soft spot for Raichu. As a matter of fact, that's my my Steam avatar right now is the Raichu illustration from the original Game Boy game.
Oh, there we go. That's awesome. Well, he's great because Raichu is the evolved form of Pikachu, right?
Yep. Yeah. Ash is an idiot. He didn't want to evolve Pikachu. You don't listen to your damn Pikachu. You make him evolve into a stronger, better Pokemon. Exactly.
Got to teach them what to do. They're pets. They're not friends. Ash. Although I guess Pikachu's still going, right?
He is
still going?
As far as I know, yes.
Is he still the most powerful Pokemon ever?
I have not seen a modern Pokemon. We actually started going through the original series, and Netflix, it just ends at some point. At just some random point, it's like, no more episodes, sorry.
That's so sad. But I guess when a series hasn't ended, you gotta pull the plug at some point.
I don't know. It was weird on Netflix. It must be a licensing thing, but...
Oh, yeah, good point, right? You just have the early good ones, and then...
Yeah, because we had wrapped up Dragon Ball Z, which to my amazement, Katie got really into. Once I gave her the pitch, I'm like, just watch it like you watch wrestling. You like wrestling, watch this like a wrestling show. And she's like, oh, shit, I get it.
There you go. It's all about the context. Once you understand the context,
all the way back to opera. You just gotta know.
There you go. We're bringing it full circle. You get the context, you get the thing you're watching, and then you can enjoy it more because you know how to watch it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Kristen, this was a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you for filling in for Kyle.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. This was great.
Before we wrap it up, where can everybody find you, your stream, and podcast that you do?
You can find me at DrmDestryr. That is DrmDestryr over at Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
You're much better at that than I am.
Thank you.
I don't have the same thing everywhere.
Short, condensed, boom, to the point.
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter, as always. amove.tv for all the other podcasts. Embrace the Spoilers is back. Go check that out. We'll be doing a Let's Talk About Star Wars very soon. Check that out as well. It's going to wrap it up for this episode. Good luck and have fun. I should add an annotation for the audience there.